The past few weeks in geopolitics have been nothing short of explosive. We are watching the world split into two clear camps, something we haven't seen since the Cold War era. On one side, there is the US and much of the West. And on the other, China, Russia, and surprisingly India, standing alongside the usual anti-US players like Iran and North Korea. So what's driving this realignment? A lot of it has to do with the US President Donald Trump, who seems to be stuck in the 1990s mindset, when the American dominance went unchallenged. His MAGA policies are severing ties with much of the global South. And India, a close US ally, seems to have been caught up in this whirlpool of tumultuous changes. Trump slapped a 50% tariff on Indian exports, claiming India's purchase of Russian oil was fueling the Ukraine war. But therein lies the problem. India's imports from Russia were far lesser compared to China or even Europe. This resulted in a defiant India. New Delhi started warming up to its arch rival China. Now pause for a second. India cozying up to China? The same China whose troops clashed with Indian soldiers just 5 years ago? For the Trump administration, this was a shock. They never expected Prime Minister Narendra Modi of India to open a dialogue not only with India's arch rival but also with Washington's biggest adversary. And it wasn't just the US that was caught off the guard. The whole Western bloc had to take notice. Even the Finnish Prime Minister issued a veiled warning to Washington, cautioning against pushing close allies too far, lest they drift to the other side.
My message, not only to my European colleagues, but especially to the United States, if we don't drive a more cooperative or dignified foreign policy with especially the global South, the likes of India, we're going to lose this game.
Yet many in India celebrated, not because of the China handshake, but because India cocked a snook at Trump. Now here's the twist. This wasn't India running to China for help. In fact, it was the other way around. The Chinese President Xi Jinping expected a lot of pressure from Trump, had already reached out in February 2025, secretly writing to India's president to mend fences with India and restart stalled trade and commerce. So when Modi attended the Shanghai Cooperation Organization summit in China, it was a signal to Washington, India has options. Whatever be the course of events, when Xi had tried to open the lines of communications with New Delhi in February, he never thought that 7 months down the line, it will be India which will try to cozy up to China. Truth of the matter is that presently China has India exactly where it wants to be. That is dependent on China. Today, Beijing also needs China to counter the US. But it is also true that tomorrow, India may need US to counter China. Also, through all this, India needs to keep in mind that while the US presidents change every 4 years, one thing remains constant. The China's Communist Party isn't going anywhere. India is on the cusp of becoming the world's third largest economy, just behind the US and China. That makes it both a partner and a threat to both superpowers. The US will need India to contain China, and China will court India to weaken the US. For India, this isn't a game of chess anymore, it's a game of thorns. India still has its trusted old ally Russia, but unlike the Soviet Russia, which was not dependent on anyone, Putin's Russia is totally dependent on China. So New Delhi must tread carefully. Trump's tariffs may have triggered this shift, but India should not lose sight of the bigger picture. This is a complex triangle, India, China, and the US, all trying to outmaneuver each other. At Global Headwinds, we will keep tracking how India navigates this diplomatic minefield. Because in this emerging order, India isn't just a player. It is actually the pivot. If you found this insight valuable, hit the like button and subscribe for more grounded analysis of India's place in the rapidly changing world.